better know that's the label. Boy better know that's the label. My mum told me to make a wish.
Yo, YouTube, welcome to the third episode of Founder Files, where I sit down and discuss my week as a young entrepreneur building multiple creative companies. These are the videos where I talk about the challenges, wins, lessons, and anything top of mind for me. It's currently the 23rd of January, 2025, and I'm filming this from a place that feels like home, Bali. However, this video isn't about Bali. It's a recap of last week where I caught 6 flights in 7 days, traveled to multiple major cities, 3 in total. And I spent some time with some incredible people, business owners, made some new connections, experienced new things. And honestly, it was probably one of my most fulfilling weeks so far in terms of business and life experiences. So let's get straight into it, starting with the challenges. The biggest challenge I faced this week was content turnaround time. I shot a lot of content this week specifically for one founder, and all I could find myself thinking about the entire time I was shooting was one, every time I press record, the list of edits I have to do was getting longer and longer. But secondly, and probably more importantly, was how valuable it would be to founders if they could have quality content turned around in 24 to 48 hours from production, so that when they're sharing things online, ultimately it's all in real time, it's relevant, and it's still incredibly good content that's aesthetically appealing. And for me, the challenge this week was the fact that I wasn't able to do that. The solution, which is building a team, probably presents a bigger challenge. But as I touched on in the last video, challenges are invited, and because of challenges, growth is inevitable. So for the internet to hear, my plan of action is to do the following: create a basic branding guideline for each founder I work with that can be shared with a team of editors eventually. Find short form editors at an affordable rate who can turn around edits in less than 24 to 48 hours, and then test the systems. And if it works, scale, rinse, and repeat. As I will continue to say, challenges are invited, they're welcomed, and for me, challenges are just growth. Moving on to the wins of the week. As I briefly touched on, I shot a lot this week. 2 of the things that I shot were podcasts. One was in a Rolls Royce, a Ghost, and the second was in a Maybach. 2 incredible business owners that I got to meet and connect with thanks to the podcast. I see those 2 podcasts as a win because I had to work around, one, a tight timeline. We had a 2-hour time window to set up, film an entire podcast. I think for me, it just gives me a chance to improve next time because things didn't go to plan. There were imperfections. And overall, I'm just proud of myself, the way I handled everything, some of the shots that I got. So yeah, it was a win for me to do those 2 things. And if you want to see the podcast when they come out, check out @Finance with Nav on Instagram. Another massive win was actually just reflecting, in the moment reflecting and seeing how my skill set and the time that I've poured into personal development over the years is now finally paying off. Like saying that, it still doesn't feel, it's hard to comprehend where I am in life right now because a lot has changed. And I used to dream of experiences like this, and 3 or 4 years later, here I am. So it's pretty special. And I think for me, it's just a reminder that I wouldn't be in the situations I'm in if I hadn't taken a bet on myself and just gone all in. And that's something I've always done. So there's a lot of personal pride there, is the fact that I didn't settle. I didn't have a plan B. I just went all in on everything. And now I am where I am. And the job's not finished. The job will never be finished. But I'm in a good position and I'm grateful. A small but important win, again, whilst I was away, was actually staying active. I was away for work, like I said, 6 flights in 7 days, but I still managed to get to the gym a couple of times, and I got a couple of runs in whilst we was away. So it was good to do that. I think somebody said to me this morning that movement is medicine, and I couldn't agree more, because I felt so much better after I moved my body. And I definitely agree with the quote, movement is medicine. Moving on to the lessons of the week. Honestly, I don't even know where to start with this because 6 flights, 7 days, 3 major cities, so many business owners. There was a lot that I learned, but I'll rapid fire a few lessons and then I'll dive deep into one specifically. So lesson number 1, double down when you are winning. Lesson number 2, connections create opportunities. Lesson number 3, never settle. When you think you're done, go again. And lesson number 4, and this one I'll expand on a little bit more, is don't take advice from people who aren't in the position you want to be in. I was fortunate enough to have a conversation last week with someone I consider not only very successful in business, but also an extremely genuine person with good values, good intentions, and someone that I look up to. And this is a person a lot further ahead in life and business than I am. However, I can definitely see myself playing the game of life at the same level that they play at now. During the conversation, we went over a few things, some goals of mine and how last year looked for me. And they actually gave me a reality check. And I'm glad they did so. They called me out, and the way they did encouraged me to realign, reroute, and get back on the course that I need to be on. I think the reason this conversation was so important to me was because it came from someone who's in a position now that, once again, I can see myself being in due time, and they were once in a position that I'm in right now. So I held a lot of value around that conversation. And I think by surrounding yourself with those sorts of people, they can help you get to where you need to be. And essentially that has a big effect on everything around you, because you can then share those lessons, those experiences with other people on your journey as well, and lift other people up throughout the course of that. If you take anything away from this video, have it be that. Only take advice from people that are in the position that you want to be in. Moving on to goals. Last week we set a couple of goals on the video, and before I dive into the final section of this video, which is the thoughts, the goals that I set last week were: 1, to read a book, which was Make Your Bed. I did read that book. It took me about 2 hours, and I definitely recommend everybody reads it. And the second was to schedule 2 weeks worth of content, which I also did. They're scheduled, ready to go. They were the goals. I completed both. It was difficult, honestly, because I was all systems go last week. There was a lot happening, but I managed to get it done. My goal for this week, again, is very simple. I've only set one because, as you can see, I am in Bali. I am here for work. I'm shooting a retreat, and I'm not going to share too much about that just yet. You'll find out all about that in the next video. So this week's goal is to create a shot list for each day that I am here shooting. And I need to execute every single day on that shot list. At the end of the day, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. So make sure to prepare. Moving on to a thought I had this week. Honestly, I didn't have much time to think the week just gone. It was all systems go, and there was a lot of long days whilst we were traveling. But something I wanted to touch on is the importance of life experiences in general. I think everyone, and I definitely haven't done this enough, but everyone should see more of the world. You should open your mind, you should meet new people and try new things, because there's so much to experience if you just say yes to life. I understand that I'm saying this from a very extremely privileged position, but find a way. I think that everything's possible when your mind's operating at a high frequency. So raise your frequency and watch how your life levels up as a byproduct of your thoughts. Trust me, if there's anything I've learned over the last 3, 4, 5 years, it's that frequency is power. And something I want you to think about this week is, what's your vehicle? What's the skill set you're leveraging to uncover your true life path? For me, it's content creation. What I want to finish this video on is to remember to never settle. Always be grateful, but never be satisfied. So that's all from me this week. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.